is by custom, and we'd like to thank the Creator for giving each of us the desire to be in the lesson. We will see the greatness of the each one of the friends next to us. We will feel the wisdom of our teachers, and since the Creator is giving us all that, it means that He wishes to fulfill us. He chose us. We are very precious to Him, and His entire will is directed at us. What can we give back to Him? Only the yearning to be together, thus delighting Him. Therefore, you lack nothing but to go out to a field that the Lord has blessed, and collect all those flaccid organs that have drooped from your soul. Join them into a single body, and in that complete body, the Creator will instill His Shekinah increasingly, incessantly, and the fountain of intelligence and high streams of light will be as a never-ending fountain. You lack nothing but to go out to a field that the Lord has blessed and collect all those flaccid organs that have drooped from your soul and joined them into a single body. In that complete body, the Creator will instill His Shekinah incessantly, and the fountain of intelligence and high streams of light will be as a never-ending fountain. Workshop. What does it mean for me to collect the organs that have dripped from the soul? Again, what does it mean to me to collect the organs that have dripped from the soul? Tell us, they explain to us, that we were connected, and we can feel it, that once we make the effort to connect spiritually to Enel, ourselves before the friends to incorporate their lacks, we feel that we are one man in one heart. We are part of that great thing that wants to connect, to reconnect, and adhere to the Creator. And we are privileged with being a part of this process to collect the organs that have dripped from the soul need to correct the shattering. Shattering is the intention, and the intention we correct through our efforts for connection and to come from self-love to love of others. That's the process of connection we have to go through. It can be that it's a kind of description of the great upper force collecting all the souls, the parts, into something one complete connecting force. You can draw mainly during the lesson. It's the best time to draw the light and ask you to connect vessels into one vessel. I have no idea what it is. It's all a matter of correction. We know we can make the correction in our world through the society. Aim ourselves in this direction and appreciate value the friends. And I take the friends lack into my heart and give it to the Creator. Correction comes after the corruption, which is relatively clear. Hence, we start from this specifically. Everywhere we discover that the evil, a separation, we have a place to ask for connection over it. Rights, each one should try to bring into the society a spirit of life and hopefulness, and infuse energy into the society. Thus, each of the friends will be able to tell himself, now I'm starting a clean slate in the work. In other words, before he came to the society, he was disappointed with the progress in the work of the Creator, but now the society has filled him with life and hopefulness. Thus, through the society, he obtained the confidence and strength to overcome, because now he feels that he can achieve wholeness in all his thoughts. He was facing a high mountain that could not be conquered, and that these were truly formidable obstructions. Now he feels that they are nothing, and he received it all from the lower, from the power of the society, because each and everyone tried to instill a spirit of encouragement and the presence of a new atmosphere in the society. Silent work. Let's enter the lesson with the feeling that we're starting a clean slate in the work in an effort to bring a spirit of life into the society. Again, let's enter the lesson with the feeling that we're starting a clean slate in the work in an effort to bring a spirit of life into the society. Shalom. Friends, today we're going to continue to read from what is Torah and work on the back of the Creator. And we're going to start from, and we must believe in the words of the Zohar. It's about a fourth of the article in. Read it until the words, we know, they know its value and they steal it and find it and don't return it to their owner. Afterwards, we'll have a lesson from April 1st, 2003. And tomorrow, we'll go to the last part of the article. We'll read the article now in the 10 that finish reading before the end of the time are invited to discuss the main points from the article. And we must believe the words of the Holy Zohar, that the whole Torah is the names of the Creator, meaning that the Creator is clothed in the clothing of Torah. Hence, We should discern two things in the Torah. 1. The clothing. 2. The one who wears it. It is as it is written in the book A. Sage's fruit quote, however, the Creator is the light of. However, the Creator is the light of an. Clothed in the light of Torah, that is, found in the 620 commandments. This is the meaning of their words. The whole TBB is the names of the Creator. It means that the Creator is the whole, and the 620 names are parts and names. End quote. That one who has faith in the Creator can believe that the giver of the Torah is clothed in the Torah. Conversely, a Gentile who has no faith in the Creator, how can he learn Torah? Since he does not believe in the giver of the Torah, he can learn only from the clothing of the Torah, but not from the one who wears it, since he has no faith. The other clothing is called wisdom, and not Jewish, since Jew is specifically when he's connected to the giver of the Torah. By this we understand what our sages said. Should one tell you there is wisdom in the Gentiles' belief, it is because they can learn the clothing without the one who wears it, which is only called wisdom without any connection to the giver of the Torah. But should one tell you there is Torah, and the Gentiles do not believe, since they have no connection to the giver of the Torah, and since the essence of our work is to achieve adhesion with the Creator as it is written to cling on to Him, it follows that the Torah is the means by which to adhere to Him. That is, while learning Torah, we should aim to be rewarded with connecting to the one who wears it. This is done through the clothing, which is the Torah in which the Creator is clothed. In the above-mentioned verse, there is wisdom in the Gentiles' believe, there is Torah in the Gentiles do not believe. When we interpret this in the work, we should know that Gentiles and Israelis are in the same body. That is, before a person is rewarded with faith, he's still regarded as a Gentile, and only after he is rewarded with faith, he's called Israel. However, if a person wants to achieve complete faith, although he has still not been rewarded with complete faith, he is already regarded as Israel. It is as Balaam said about, quote, "Let wisdom be given to the wise," end quote. He asked, should it not have said, "Let wisdom be given to the fools"? He said that a person who seeks wisdom is already called wise, because any person is judged by his goal, meaning by what he expects to achieve. The person is named after this. Accordingly, we should interpret that all those who want to achieve complete faith are already called Israelis. For this reason, if in the beginning of his study, when a person comes to study, there is no desire to thereby achieve complete faith, which he can achieve through the light in the Torah, by wanting to adhere to the one who wears it, who's clothed in the Torah, and gives the light of Torah and none other, it follows that he's learning Torah, which is the clothing of the Creator, and through it he wants to achieve complete faith, adhere to the one who wears it, who is the giver of the Torah. Here there is unification of three discernments. 1. The Torah, which is the clothing of the Creator. 2. The Creator, which is who is clothed in the Torah. And 3. Israel, the person who is learning Torah with the above intention. And this is called unification. Called the Torah and the Creator and Israel are one. Although this speaks to those who have already been rewarded with the names of the Creator, which is called that they have been rewarded with handfulling, called faith, and the headling called Torah. Yet, those who walk on the path of achieving Torah and faith also receive a surrounding from this unification. Now we can understand what is written. Quote, "There is wisdom in the Gentiles. Believe," end quote. That is, if a person does not aim to be rewarded with faith in the Creator through the study of Torah, then he has no connection to the Torah, since Torah means the clothing, and the one who wears it together, namely the Torah together with the giver of the Torah. Although he still does not feel the giver of the Torah, still the purpose of the study is to come to feel the giver of the Torah. If a person does not place the goal of reaching the giver of the Torah in front of him, he's regarded as Gentile, meaning one who has no need for faith. That is, he should have the need to seek advice to achieve faith. This is why he is still considered a Gentile and not Israel. Hence, regarding wisdom, believe that he has it, meaning only the clothing without the need for the one who wears it. This is the meaning of the words "there is Torah in the Gentiles" did not believe, since he has no connection to the Torah. However, believing or not believing also does not refer to two bodies, rather, believing or not believing refers to the person himself. The person himself must pay attention to whether or not he is Torah or God forbid does not. Since a person exerts and makes efforts, the intention is certainly to be rewarded with Torah. The person thinks that even without the aim to achieve complete faith, he can be rewarded with the Torah. Our sages said about this that one should know that it is impossible to be rewarded with a Torah without complete faith. For this reason, prior to the study, a person must pay attention and introspect with which aim he is making his effort in learning Torah. That is, what does he want to achieve by learning Torah? Certainly, when a person makes an effort, it is because he lacks something through his effort. He will then be given what he thinks he needs, and his lack will be satisfied in return for the toil. And a person should believe what is written, quote, I labored and found end, quote. This reason, sometimes a person understands that he lacks the knowledge of the thought. Hence all his thoughts are toward being rewarded with the knowledge of Torah, and this is the clothing of the Creator. When he feels that all he needs is the outer clothing of the Torah, this is called wisdom, but means that he needs the one who is clothed in the Torah. That is, he still lacks complete faith in the Creator, and he fears that there is evil in his heart, and he wants to be rewarded with the mind and heart that will be all for the sake of the Creator. And since our sages said, quote, the Creator said, I have created the evil inclination, I've created the Torah as a spice because the light in it reforms him, end quote. It follows that he needs the Torah as a means, for through the Torah he will be rewarded with complete faith in the Creator. Afterwards, through the Torah, he will be rewarded with a Torah that is called Torah of life, since he will be rewarded with the one who wears together with the clothing. That is, he will be rewarded with the clothing called Torah together with the one who wears it called the Creator. It is as the Zohar says, quote, the Torah and the Creator and Israel are one end, quote. This is the meaning of what is written, and let them take from me a contribution. You have merchandise, that he who sells it sold is sold with me. And the Creator said to Israel, I have sold to you my Juah, my lore. It is as though I've been sold with it, as was said, and let them make from me contribution. According to the above, we should interpret the words of the Midrash, where it says, it is as though I have been sold with it, and the Torah is regarded as the Torah and Israel and the Creator are one. Since the Torah is the clothing of the Creator, and through the Torah, man must be rewarded with the one who wears it called adhering to the Creator. It follows that we must be rewarded with two things, the Torah and the Creator, and this is the meaning of what is written. It is as though I have been sold with it. For this reason, there's a completeness of three things here. 1. Israel. 2. The Creator. 3. The Torah. It is as it is written in the book, a sage's fruit. What can a person do in order to come to feel the need for the Torah in which the Creator is clothed? Is our sages said that the Creator said to Israel, I have sold to you my Torah. It is as though I've been sold with it. This is the meaning of having merchandise, that one who sells it is sold with it. This means that the Creator wants that when a person takes the Torah, he will seemingly take the Creator with him. Yet, a person does not feel he needs this. Primarily, a person takes after the majority, and since when beginning to teach women, children and the general public says we should begin in, normally everyone takes after the beginning, meaning that the reason they were given for why we need the Torah are reasons of, it's not because I have created the evil inclination, I've created the Torah as a spice. Naturally, the majority of the world does not even understand that there is a reward called adhesion with Creator. For this reason, the view of the maturity controls a person, but he does not need to study Torah so that by this he will be able to achieve the real intention. That is that through the Torah he will be able to aim in order to bestow, and not for his own benefit, but it will bring him adhesion to adhere to the Creator. For this meaning, in order to correct the created beings so they will achieve adhesion the multiplicity of worldsome and souls, where it is all in order to correct creation, called who will to receive. Through the reception, creation has moved away from the Creator, and by these corrections that were made, it will be possible to correct everything. So it works in order to bestow, and when all the vessels of reception work in order to bestow, this will be the end of correction, and this is called the perfection of his deeds. As the Holy Ari said when it came up in his simple will to create the worlds and emanate the nations to bring to light the perfection of his deeds, his names and appellations, which was the reason for the creation of the world of the worlds, and so restricted himself, and there was room where the emanations could. There he interprets in opening me as follows. It follows that the very reason for the restriction was only the craving for the new form of reception in order to bestow, which is destined to be revealed by the creation of the worlds. Accordingly, we see that the creation of the worlds and souls was primarily with one intention, to correct everything, so that it works in order to bestow, which is called adhesion equivalence of form. The Creator said about the Torah, quote, I have created the evil inclination. I have created the Torah as a spice. End quote. That is once man receives the Torah as a spice, the evil inclination will be corrected to work in order to be stone, as it is written in the Zohar. Quote, the angel of death is destined to be a holy angel. End quote. A person cannot see all this because he takes after the majority called the whole of Israel. It was said that the beginning of the education everyone receives is in Lish, not for her sake, meaning but the engagement in Torah and commandments is in order to receive reward in vessels of self-benefit, and the Lishmer for her sake is forbidden, to reveal to a person upon the admission of a person into the observance of Torah and commandments as mentioned in the words of there. This causes a person to understand with his intellect that he needs to learn Torah only in order to know the rules, how to observe the mitzvah. As our sages said, an uneducated person is not, although they also learn Torah, and that does not pertain to practical mitzvah learning. That part of the Torah is because of the commandment to learn Torah. Is it written, and you shall reflect on it day and night? That is, he learns because it is a commandment just like the rest of the commandments. However, concerning what our sages said, you have a merchandise, that one who sells it is sold with it. When the Creator said to Israel, I have sold you my Torah, it is as though I have been sold with it. If to this one has no connection, for what will it give him if he believes that the creature is clothed in the Torah? Should one who takes the Torah know that the creature is clothed in the Torah, and he should be rewarded with adhesion of the Creator who is clothed in it? All of his work is with the intention, lishmer, and all he hopes for is to observe Torah and commandments with the intention for self-benefit. Naturally, he has no connection to the one who is clothed in the Torah, but rather settles for just one thing, to the extent that he has faith in reward and punishment. To that extent depends his work in observing Torah and commandment, since he looks at nothing but the reward. But the essence of the Torah and commandments that he performs does not interest him. Conversely, if a person wants to work and observe Torah and commandments without any reward, only because he wants to serve the king, then he needs to know the greatness of the king, for the measure of his work depends on the extent of his faith in the greatness of the king. For only the greatness and importance of the king gives him fuel for work. It is written, it is as it is written in the Zohar about the verse, her husband is known at the gates. It means that each according to what he assumes in his heart. By this he tells us that to the extent that a person assumes in his heart the greatness and importance of the Creator, to that extent he dedicates himself to serving the king. For this reason, people of this kind who want to work only in order to bestow, and all reason that compels them to engage in Torah, is the importance and greatness of the Creator, as it is written in the Zohar that the essence of fear is to work because he is great and ruling. And these people believe that the Creator is clothed in the Torah, and believe what the Creator said to Israel, I sold you my Torah. It is as though I've been sold with it. When they learn Torah, they want to elicit the light of the Torah that him. This is the meaning of what our sages said. He who comes to purify through the Torah is aided since the Creator is clothed in the Torah. Accordingly, we should interpret what we say, quote, enlighten us in your Torah, end quote. It seems as though the words enlighten us should be said of a place of darkness and concealment, but in regard to the Torah, it should have said, let us understand your Torah. So, what is enlighten? According to the above, we should interpret that since we should discern within the Torah the clothing of Torah in which the Creator is clothed, and this is concealed from us because we only see the clothing and not the one who wears it. We therefore ask the Creator to enlighten us so that we may be rewarded with seeing and feeling the Creator who is clothed in the Torah. This is the meaning of enlighten us, that we may see that you are clothed in your Torah. We should also understand what is said in the Zohar about the verse, they who seek me will find me. They ask about this, where do you find the Creator? They said that you find him only in the Torah. Also, they said about the verse, indeed you are a God who hides. That is that the Creator hides himself in the Holy Torah. It is written in the introduction to the study of the 10th field concerning what our sages said. You have merchandise, that he who sells it is sold with it. This means that the Creator is clothed in the Torah, except a person must seek and find him, since he hid himself in the Torah as long as he learns, as the learners of the Torah are unworthy of it, but through the labour and prayer they find him. Of this it was said, I laboured, and found. The question is, what is the connection between labouring and finding in the Torah? Through the labour we find the Creator, how he is clothed in the Torah. This means that one should not say, I learned much Torah, but I do not find the Creator, how he is clothed in the Torah. Instead we should seek him and not despair, but believe what is written. Quote, they who seek me will find me, end quote. Since the concealment is a correction that a person will not attain him before he has vessels of bestow, which is called equivalence of form and adhesion with the Creator. Accordingly, we should interpret what our sages said. Be careful with the sons of the poor, for from them Torah will emerge. As was said, water will flow from his bucket, for from them Torah will emerge. It seems to mean that Torah will emerge specifically from the sons of the poor, that from the sons of the rich it will not. Can we say this in the work? We should interpret that poor is, as our sages said, one is poor only in knowledge. For this reason, when a person learns Torah and wants to achieve the Torah, meaning to a state of enlighten us in your Torah, meaning to adhere to the Creator who is clothed in the Torah. For your Torah refers to the Creator who is clothed in it, yet he sees that as much as he exerted and worked to find the Creator in the Torah, he cannot find him, although it is written, quote, they who seek me will find me, end quote. He sees that he is poor in knowledge, yet he wants to keep what is written, quote, know the God of your father and serve him, end quote. And what is written, quote, a soul without knowledge is not good, end quote. But he is far from it, for each time he sees that it is utterly impossible to find the Creator in the Torah. This is called poor in knowledge. At this time, a person understands that finding the Creator in the Torah was not said for him, since he thinks that he has already looked for him in the Torah, but found nothing, and he wants to flee the battle. That's why our sages said, be careful with the sons of the poor, for from them Torah will emerge. The reason is according to the rule, there is no filling without a lack, no greatness without smallness. This means that if we want to give something to a person, but the giver is afraid that if he is given immediately, as soon as the receiver asks of him, the receiver will not be able to appreciate the giving and will probably lose it, or other people might take that thing from him. And since the giver knows the importance of the matter, he does not want the receiver to spoil it. For this reason, he does not give him what he asks immediately. Instead, he wants the receiver to ask him many times. Thus, through the demand, a need for the matter is formed in the receiver. Otherwise, he would have had to stop asking. When he does not stop asking, this can be only if each time he must understand the necessity of the matter. That is if he wants to ask of him again that the giver will give him, a person must contemplate whether he really needs that thing, for only then does he have the strength to ask again. Once he had already asked, but received no answer to his question. This is so because a person cannot ask of someone who takes no interest in his requests. However, since the thing that he is asking is necessary, and his whole life depends on it, the necessity of the matter does not let him rest, and he goes even above reason to ask time and again. He has nowhere else to go because he understands that this is his life, and without it he says his life is pointless. Since he has come to feel that it is not worth living for other things, it follows that he has no choice, since he has no satisfaction in his life. That is since there is a rule that a person cannot live without provision, since the Creator created the creatures with the intention that they will enjoy, which is called his desire to do good to his creations, and the three things that can give a person provision to sustain the body, so it is satisfied, and which are called envy, lust and honour do not satisfy him. For this reason, a person must seek spirituality. If he is a Jew, he believes that through adhesion with the Creator and his law, one can obtain provision to provide for the body and be able to say wholeheartedly, quote, "Blessed is he who said, let there be the world," end quote, since he enjoys it, if he's rewarded with adhesion with the Creator, as it is written, quote, "And you who cling unto the Lord your God are alive, every one of you today," end quote, for then he will be rewarded with real life. This gives him the strength not to despair from asking the Creator to bring him closer and open his eyes in the Torah, as it is written in the introduction to the study of the Tensot, quote, "The first degree of the revelation of the face comes to a person only through the Creator's salvation, when one is rewarded with opening the eyes in the Holy Torah with wonderful attainment, and he becomes like a never-ending stream," end quote. However, this depends on the extent to which he believed that the Creator hears a prayer and can justify providence and say what he thinks that he did not receive what he asked for, not because the Creator did not pay attention to his prayers, but he believes that the Creator stands and waits for his prayers, and collects them as in penny by penny, join into a great amount. In other words, since it is known that if you give something important to a person who does not know its value, and there are people who do know its importance, that thing will move to those people either by theft or by losing it. For the person will not know how to keep it, and there are people who know its value and they will steal or find it and not return it to the owner. Yes, well, very powerful article. We want to teach faith through our study, as well as to build the vessel in which the Creator will be clothed and give us forces. And in the second stage, we would like to feel the one clothed in the Torah who is to the Creator himself, for him to give us life, a life of holiness, true adhesion to the Creator, to feel him, to truly feel how much he bestows, how much love he has in him, to truly be adhered. It's a very rich article. We can sit and analyze every paragraph. You can see that's what I got was that those who seek me will find me. I labored and I found believe. I labored and did not find, did not believe. There are very strict rules that Rabash outlines how to study Torah and what is the essence and purpose of the Torah. And generally speaking, we have to reach equivalence of form and revelation of the one who gives the Torah. Everything revolves, as I see it, around this, around how a person needs to introspect before the study, to scrutinize. What is exactly that action? If he gets up and walks, there's a reason. If there's no reason, then there's no purpose. What is done? What is being done? It's not clear what exactly is the action. We're going to go to a lesson with our Ray from April 1st, 2003. Pay attention that as the friends requested, there will be subtitles. What are work in the way of the Creator? Volume 5, Ranks of the Latter. We started with page 320 through to 328. Questions. Yes, he speaks of the Torah and the Torah, where light reforms. What is included within the Torah? So what things are included in the Torah? We have only two things, Creator and created being no more. And all of a sudden we find so many different names, different ways and matters of connection. It's confusing. Yes, the created being is the will to receive. The creator is the will to bestow. The appearance of the creator to the created being is the creator's entire act. Yes, the creator is revealed to the created being, or he hides from the created being, and as a result there are various phenomena happening in the created being, and these phenomena, that's what we're discussing. That's our entire life. That's what we're concerned about. There's nothing more. It's like a vessel facing the light. There's nothing more to add. The appearance of the creator towards the created beings. It has 1,000 different names, because it's not only with respect to the created being the will to receive, but also it becomes, what is the will to receive expecting of the creator? Who is revealed to it? And then he begins to want different things from the creator. Mostly, it's light. He wants the rather either. He wants the creator to fulfill him to give him pleasure for himself, or he wants the creator to give him the power to receive the pleasure in such way where he feels that he's doing the creator a favor, giving the creator pleasure by that. Those are the only two kinds of relations that can exist there. The will to receive in the created being is permanent, is set. The will to bestow in the creator, that's a set parameter. The sensation of the revelation of the creator inside the created being, that's called pleasure. And for the created being to feel other than the pleasure, other than the appearance of the creator in him, to also feel the creator's personality, so to speak, his essence, who he is, the giver, then he relates not only to the pleasure, but also to the creator, himself, the giver. And then this relation to the pleasure that is called the will to receive. I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy you by seeing you. It's like you, let's say a man who loves a woman, then he enjoys her appearance. Yes, and from the regard for the essence of the creator who is the giver. From that, in the will to receive there are two motions, so to speak, either to use the giver in order to be delighted, meaning not just to be delighted, but there's a relation between him and the creator, meaning I want to enjoy you, or I want to delight you as. That's it. So there's the will and there's the intention, either for his own sake or for the creator's sake. That's all. Now, accordingly, in accordance with that, the relationship between the creator and the created being, it's all about what the created being wants each time in terms of his intention. His intention, if he intends for himself, he wants for himself, and somehow suddenly some urge is revealed to him to transition to the intention to bestow to the creator, meaning to receive, but in order to delight the creator for the creator's sake. Then he demands from the creator the ability to do that, meaning his demand is always presented to the creator. A demand for pleasure or a demand for how to work with the pleasure, what to do with the pleasure, all that a person receives from the creator. It's called light or Torah. And so it emerges that this light, the revelation of the creator to the created being, in that we find two main presentations. Either the creator is revealed as the one who gives the power to change, to correct the intention, either that, or he's revealed as the pleasure itself, meaning there is the Torah that reforms one, the reforming light, and then there is the Torah, which is the names of the creator, revelations of lights in corrected vessels, corrected with the intention to bestow. That's it. So he discovers that that's what he needs, and as he writes, that he requires the correction in order to bestow the light that reforms. Now we say that the main thing is the intention. So how do you come to the text to extract the light from it? The question is, can this intention clothe on other things? What things can this intention clothe on and extract this light? So meaning, our person is in a certain state. The creator positioned him in that state, and from that state, he needs to start upon his path to change to reach the goal. Again, he has no one to turn to, but for the creator. Now the question is, by what means will he turn to him, and what exactly he will ask for meaning? What to do? Yes, so people who have travelled the path, they write to us what needs to be done. A simple matter. Who do I always ask? One who is experienced, so they advise us on what to do. They say, there is the study, and from the study, you derive forces, you draw the reforming light, that's one thing. And then in order to have the desire for the study and to ask for the force that reforms you before the study, you need to equip yourself with the desire, which is above what you have, and desire which is more than what you have. You can acquire from the society, like in a regular society, a person enters the society, receives from the society various goals, desires, it's good to get this, to buy that, to be like so, and so on. In the same way, if you enter a good spiritual society, it adds to you the desire to get close to the Creator. And then when you sit by the book next to the book, you don't sit like over there where you have a few people who can barely open their eyes. Even rather, you're sitting with expectation, a desire to receive something from the book. So it all depends on what society you found and what you received from it. So hear well, and the RAF and the book, of course. General kind of guidance needs to come from the RAR and the book. That's the true proper texts that connect you to spiritual places, the original texts, by that in that you find the light. So you have these means all in all the proper book, the proper and the right group, and through them you want to change that. It what you want to reach the revelation of the Creator, meaning first to correct the vessels and then to receive the light. That's how we say it, how we call it in the wisdom of Kabbalah, in the language of Kabbalah, the correction of the vessels, that means to acquire faith, the intention in order to bestow, and the reception of the light, that's receiving in order to bestow already. It has many names, many different ways to it, but simply it's like that. He writes, be careful with the sons of the poor, for from them Torah will emerge. Why does he write be careful? Beware the sons of the poor, as the Torah will come from them. Well, just the sons of the poor, that's clear. A person feels that he's poor and has no, what is it? That he doesn't have the right vessels with which to receive the light of the Creator's revelation. That person is called poor. Yes, poor means poor in reason, in the mind. But what does it mean to beware? Beware. It's because a person belittles, disregards these states. He doesn't want them. He runs away from the feeling of poverty, of having nothing, because the will to receive does not want to suffer. That's its nature, and he always calms himself, seemingly quenching these feelings, covering these feelings where I don't have what I want. And a person is not. He doesn't feel any willingness to discover the true, lacks the real, lacks the will to receive, is ready to and likes giving the person the opportunity to sit and sob and eat himself up. That is not the feeling of poverty here. The feeling of poverty is the feeling of the lack of forces of bestow. And this, the will to receive, doesn't give us an opportunity to feel that. He always chases us away from that. That's why it's written, beware the sons of the poor, meaning you need to be especially wary of. You really need to pay attention to the sons of the poor, not the poor, but the sons of the poor, meaning the outcome of that feeling of poverty, meaning what I demand from that feeling, because through that demand, the Torah emerges. As a result of that, the reforming light arrives. The vessel to receive, in which to receive the correction, is called the sons of the poor. Why is it the light and the Creator are one? The Torah, that's the Creator, and that's my soul, the vessel. Yes, one, as this is the only state that exists in reality. He and his name are one, or the Creator who created the created being, and his is within the created being fully. And we feel that we're not in that state, and we need to discover that we actually are in that state. Why are they as one? The vessel received from the Torah all the corrections, and the Creator already presides within this vessel, filling it with no limits, no boundary, no end. It's called no end in infinity. And how do we start the investigation of this in our state? How do we begin? Very simply, we begin according to what they write, according to what presents you with all that he presents, you with all the advice. He tells you what to do, what to start with. You don't know what the first point you need to start from. It's I want to look at the three things by myself. How to discover in you. How do I discover in me? Is the Torah and the Creator are one? Yes, very good. It's very good for me to want to discover such a thing. and indeed I am in that state, because nothing exists except for that state. The Creator did not create anything in the middle and halfway through or quarter of the way through, or He created one perfect, complete thing, and that's it. How do I discover it? I now need to search for who am I? Do I have the point of Israel? Israel means that I yearn for the Creator. Is my yearning for the Creator through my yearning for Him? Can I discover Him, the Creator? Who is He? The Creator is the giver, the bestower. Do I have in my desires, among my desires, something of the bestow that He has, or something that I can bestow to Him? And then there can be this point between us, and that point between us needs to be something that we share through some common action, a common intention, and that is called Torah. You need to see it as one thing. You need to see it not at the end. Every time you need to see it as one thing. Every moment. You can interpret here as the action you take in order to be together with the Creator, or as the feeling where you feel Him, as your intentions and His intentions, and so on and so forth. It doesn't matter. The Torah can be the forces. It can be the revelation of His names. What does that mean? The manners in which He's revealed to you. One time I reveal Him like this, another I think of Him like so. All these different ways in which I think about Him, different ways, that is called Torah altogether. You understand, the Torah is called the Torah is the revelation of the Creator to the created beings in various ways, and altogether it is called the Creator. That's what he writes, that the Creator is all-inclusive. Yes, inclusive, and these names and the Torah is the details. Yes. He writes about the filling of the hand, the filling of the head. No, in page 321, where he writes about the feeling of the hand and the feeling of the head. What does he say there? Where is it? It says this is called 321, starting with, and this is called unification, called the Torah, the Creator. In Israel are one, and although the Tsar speaks to those people who have been awarded with the names of the Creator, which is called that, they have been awarded with that feeling of the hand, called faith, and that feeling of the head called, well, what do you want to? There are two corrections. The feeling of the hand, that's when you know you lay the feeling over the weak hand, right, your weaker hand, the left hand, to correct it, to make it strong. What is the correction of the hand? Hand is called in order to receive the will, to receive. The hand reaches, and right, when you correct the hand, it means that you correct the will to receive, so that it is in order to bestow, meaning that a person acquires the qualities of Bina, acquires the qualities of Bina, yes. This is called attaining that of the hand, and after that, by acquiring the correction of bestowing in order to bestow, you begin to work with these corrections and receive the lights, receiving in order to bestow, and that is called that feeling of the head. When you reach the reception of the light of within, the light of that is then called knowing. That's all these things we've learned, but sometimes we learn what they're called in the Torah, what they're called in the various different places, but so there is no action which is outside of the realm of what we learn in test. Yes, okay, so let's say that a person has chosen a society and he receives a lot of the impression of the greatness of the Creator. How can he relate correctly suddenly to criticism made against the society, which immediately removes all the criticism from someone else, which simply shatters the image of the greatness he had before? The whole thing is suddenly someone rises and criticizes the society, while it turns out that someone else in the society now loses everything he gained. You say it like that: we have a society. I wish to feel it as great and special and exalted, the height of all the degrees, and I almost managed to do it. It gives me impression and fuel to work and motivation, and suddenly someone gets up and doing our gathering or the lesson, and he starts to criticize the society, and it lowers the society in my eyes, and I feel contempt is growing in me about the society. And then another one gets up and starts to insert what to do right. That's true, that's the question. The question is simple. What is the intention of these people that bring the criticism? If the criticism is useful or beneficial, or is it destructive? As it's written, the contradiction of the older people is a building, and the building of the young people is A contradiction. It depends on who how one relates. Sometimes one who builds, it's better if, doesn't even touch, and other times one who contradicts, breaks meaning. Sometimes breaking is building. You have to make a distinction. I don't know you. See that our path, as much as you align it on a straight line and how to the extent it can, advance in a straight line and you are locked on the goal. But we have examples, even examples from Hiroshima, but before it reaches the very last degree, we suddenly ship from the market. Our path is made up of a sense, and the sense all kinds of contradictions. Even if it's straight, we think that, oh, I fell, I got tossed out, I don't, no. Even if you're walking on a single line, you have to receive these contradictions and falls and a mess and confusions. Meaning it looks like you cannot do it without it. We just need to see that make you an elder person. Elder old means one who acquired wisdom and can see the future. And do you treat it in such a way that after all these contradiction you'll have a building a new structure even more beautiful than the older building. But rather we have to clean the place from the old building, but rebuild or not. That's how you need to relate to those things. Meaning, are we building or are we not building? And a group that starts to discuss has to be prepared that it's really entering all kinds of criticisms about its actions and everything that's happening to it. And you come out of the criticism with a group that's even more coalesced and built. Bus writes in the societal article that when a society comes to do such a thing, first you need to exalt the society and only then speak. So the question is, do we really need to sit and think very carefully before we start to do anything, and to do it properly with great consideration, and not where each one who feels something immediately bursts out. Look, when Rabash writes that before such things you have to think about the greatness of the Creator, he writes, but you see that life is not according to the writing, life is according to life. So as much as we can make it happen according to our degree, then it's good. If not, then not. What does it mean that I'm thinking about the greatness of the Creator? Ready for what? Does it mean to think about it or not think about it? It's with my exterior mind. Is my heart ready for it? Is it in such a feeling where I feel the Creator? I think about it. He's in my heart. From this level, I begin to evaluate it or not. It's not simply to sit and think. I sit and think and I keep my mouth shut for a while and I don't criticize. So what? Everything nevertheless depends on the correction in the heart, more and more above the level you're on. I don't think you can advance without contradictions and real arguments. People must reveal their attitude to the society, and, of course, beforehand, they have to equip themselves with the intention that without a society they are not able to move. This is simply the framework without which nothing will work out. They have to solve the problem, not just simply yell and cry and destroy. And if in order to build something, they have to tear something down, then that's what you do. Yeah, he writes that in faith you need to follow the path of joining pennies into a great sum. Our actions toward the Creator and the actions of the Creator toward us are gradual, step by step. Therefore, every progress, any progress we make is in stages, also multifaceted. Sometimes we go up some, other times we go down, and many instances we don't understand our state. What did you ask exactly? He says here that in faith you need to follow the path of adding penny to penny. So from all the actions that a person seemingly does in his life, there's only one action that a person does and it remains for eternity. All the remaining actions are only for a time. A person does them, and he enjoys or he suffers, and that's it. There's one action which is the correction of my vessel, my will to receive, that is added from moment to moment or from incarnation to incarnation. That's what I've done, and that remains in my bank, my balance. So I keep adding another penny and another penny to my account, to this sum according to the corrections that I've made. And the corrections, we know what they are. It's the increasing of the forces of bestow through the society in the study, through my free choice. If I do certain action in my free choice, where I do it, and not the Creator, this is considered my. This is written on my account. And my free action will be only to make the society stronger, so it will bestow to me each time force a greater desire to bestow, and, with this great desire to bestow, I'll turn to the Creator and demand of him to bestow even more, and then my balance receives another number. Again I turn to the society, again I change it, again I receive an awakening to advance and to bestow, and I turn to the Creator and I ask him for the strength to bestow, and again there's additional funds enter my account, another number, and so on so forth. That's it. That's everything else the Creator does. But this is what I do. That's why it enters my account, and each time only this thing in my life is what remains after I live. Only this account remains. It can remain zero. It can have 10, 20,000 such actions. I don't know. But only this remains. Free actions that I did, and there's no more than that. This is very specific. So what did you ask? That's why he writes that when person is being led to the burial, only Torah and good deeds go with him. The Torah and good deeds he did in life, that's all, only that remains. So there's a system that's doing the calculation at a certain stage. It's not system that makes the calculation. It's simply inside your soul. What additional system you need to have inside your soul? It happens immediately, instantly. There are no systems. Some department up above where angels sit down and take down what you did, and I don't even start imagining such idol worshipping. You understand, this is inside your soul. What you do at it, immediately it's immediately received. They're absorbed there, and there's nothing besides the soul where you feel all those phenomena. So this soul does the math for itself, and then at a certain point there's a certain sum called the great sum. Each one has his own sum, helps him go from state to state, from world to world, according to the root of his soul. But every transition also has certain standards which are homogeneous for everyone to go from world to world. Let's say you need to have a certain positive balance. So ultimately, it's something unique to each person, and calculation is unique to every person, relative to every person, because each and everyone has a different vessel. That's it. And what is it different or similar for everyone? What do you care about the others? How is he different or not? What do I care about what someone else's account has? I can't take from him. I can't steal from him. I have to make sure that I have as much as possible in my account. In my account for the time being, it's concealed from me. Later it's revealed. Later we enter a state where even it's a reward and punishment. I see how much I earn, how much I lose, how much I really do good to my balance. Right, I see, get a report. What's good about this report? This status update is that they raise and they never bring you down. There's no percent. There's no fines. No debt. Yeah, no debt. Why? It looks like that, but it's an opportunity to raise the remaining balance, and we can't use it. So we call it debt. They lower us. They toss us out as if they conceal from us the previous picture, as if we came down. We understand, like we put in hard work in order to add to the balance. So you can do it or you can't, but the balance remains. No, that's it. He doesn't want it to work. He just wants to put his hand up, and you have to break that spring there. I'm certain it works that way for him. No, you're right. Know the Lord your God and work for him. What does it mean to know? And what is your Father? Wonderful. We will solve this problem. It's not simple. It's truly not true. The question is known. But yes, if a person feels that he's lacking a certain quality that could help him on the path, what a person is missing some quality that will help him advance on the way. Let's say you acquire it. A person is never missing anything. But what's missing according to my characteristics? I am missing patience. I'm crude and rude. Well, let's say too, there are many more, but let's say where, if without these things, it's impossible to advance. Impatience and not being persistent is in a way that is. Ask psychologists. I can do tests today, even today, because it doesn't change these things. Yes, so they'll say, this person, I don't know, you can't do anything with him. I don't know, you can't even send him somewhere because in a moment it'll be somewhere else. You can see for 25 years I'm already in the same place on the same path. Meaning, what am I trying to say? That the natural attributes or qualities of ours can never be a determinant on our advancement. You can be, a fool as a stupid, impatient, weak of character. He could be afraid of changes and whatnot. And, specifically, you later discovered that those things somewhat become in such manners. They get clarified. That specifically they are the ones that enable you to advance. You understand. I discover it this way. Although I suffer from them corporally, I suffer greatly, but in spirituality I've already long ago discovered that they benefit me. So all these attributes are external expressions of the forces of the soul. So you have nothing to complain about. A person is built in a way that what's in him is simply perfect for his advancement, no more and no less, but precisely those qualities are even the worst of that I'm telling you. I don't know you can have deviant qualities, whatnot, and specifically that helps take any person, every person with all of his qualities that are his seemingly negative ones, and you will see how much eventually he will use that quality, yes, or that deviation, or float as the most beneficial of all, because it's a result of the forces of the soul from the qualities of the soul. So he can't without that quality correct it, and if he feels that it stops him from doing those certain things, it's not important what you feel along the way. All these things are beneficial altogether from you. No one demands of you to find out where you're stopped or not stopped, that you don't know. One thing is demanded of you. Realize the right of choice of yours. It's not through the society, but to take out of the society the advancement, more than what the Creator gives you. We don't have the force to begin with, and the desire to receive to advance. We're given this initial push. There's this initial nudge, and the rest we need to take out of the society ourselves. We can. Yes, we can't. We're not advancing. The problem is that we acquire all kinds of knowledge, all kinds of feelings, and it seems to us like it's advancement. That's not advancement. You can be like that for 20 or 30 years, and that's not going to be advancement if we don't take out additional forces from the society. So, that's it. Let's go to a workshop, a summary workshop. What are we taking from the lesson to implement in the 10? Our free choice is to take the forces out of the 10 we receive from society. Push and initial drive. All the rest depends on a person, and a person is never weighed or measured other than what he did in Torah, how much he's invested, and to what extent he asked to be an equivalent of form with the desire to bestow. Yeah, all in all, everything that depends on a person is to strengthen his environment. As we say, books, a group, and the teacher. Those are the foundations of the society to advance, and you need to strengthen that society. Then everyone already grows in the optimum way that the Creator gave him to advance to him, and there are only merits, no faults. You just advance. Yes, that's how we make the lesson. He also said it nicely in the end that the only person's free choice is to take out of the society forces to advance beyond that which the Creator gives you. It's that use, that amplifier of the society, that we see that all our advancement is seemingly by the light and study. It seems pretty complex when a person needs to prepare himself to aim to think for what, and make many scrutinies. Eventually, it connects to the workshop question in the preparation. What is a person who's kind of collecting his deficiencies? So, you see that in the end it's desires that a person collects from the society. That's the deficiency he brings to the lesson. The Torah is a revelation of the Creator to the created beings, and we need a group to study the Torah with. And the whole matter of the scrutiny is to increase the need for him, and therefore, seemingly a person is lowered his forces, and then he gets into despair because what should you ask from someone who doesn't answer? But there's a very precise goal here for a person to scrutinize the needing for and what he wants and whether he wants it all together. And to do this scrutiny and ask for these forces he can't for himself, and it pushes him towards the society. That's why for the implementation in the tenets to maybe help one another, specifically in this matter of necessity, of the need, for the demand that we come to the lesson with, increase the importance of you. What we're doing to increase our deficiency for spirituality, for the way we use the Torah. Also, how do we even attain faith? How do we attain a desire to learn to change, to go through all these states of overcoming the will to receive? We need all that in order to strengthen in the force of the group of the 10, so we can overcome its states that aren't simple. A person on his own cannot stand through all these states on his own. You can go through an entire life, and if you haven't engaged in correction of the soul, then nothing is kept for you, and is not considered or as a merit reward for you, whether everything is cancelled, and the only calculation that remains for you in the soul is what you did in order to correct the soul, to what extent you were inclined to bestow, how much you implemented this great gift that you received, this awakening of the point of the heart. All the rest gets cancelled. So to summarize, what are we bringing to the 10? We learn that the heart is something very important, their ascents, their descents. It's part of the work, part of the scrutiny, the sense of descents, and we have to bring that into society. From that, there's a responsibility of the temple. So also to speak from the heart. It's more important than just tossing out things from your mind that you can't even understand. We will study now from a test lesson with Ramash. We'll be reading from the Study of the 10 Sut Volume 1 Part 4. We are in the questions and answers on the meaning of the topics. Answer 103. We're starting with the 9th is a record of the light of Malat. Vessels are called males. It's a male, meaning the way it clothes, the illuminated of. Then the record for the light, for remains from the light, and the vessel to the light of is extended from reflected light, called the light of. The 9th is a record of the light of Malat, which is only refined light that remained of her light. However, the coarse light in her disappeared, and no record remained of it, meaning the record from the extension in her about which the says that Mal did not leave a record. The meaning is on extending, but from the refined light, she got some kind of illumination that also remained in the 10th records incorporated in the screen as it passes on its ascent to the emanator. We also learn that records remain in the vessels of Galarter itself. That's one discernment. But he says that since the screen ascends from one degree to the next, the screen is included in all the records until it ascended to it. When it ascends to, they were renewed therein anew, coupling for the second expansion. Then comes the 11th, are records that remained of the first 9 that emerged during the refinement of the screen. The 12 are the records from the last phases of these above mentioned levels. It could be that he's dividing it in a way that he says the opposite. First he says that what's included in the screen. Then he says what remains in the vessel itself. The 11th are records that remained of the first 9 that emerged during the refinement of the screen. The 12th of the record from the last phases. What's question number 10? The sermon. 10 phase 10. The 10th are records incorporated in the screen as it passes on its ascent to the emanator. They were renewed therein anew, coupling for the second expansion. 1. He mentions they ascended. Now he's asking the opposite. So 11 was what remained in the vessels, while the refining, it means in the vessels of themselves, remained in the first 9 spur, compared to what was remained in the last phases. He calls it the light of Malat. He asks this. He mentions that we learned that does not leave a record. There's a lot about that. There are a lot of contradictions. What does it mean that Mal does not leave a record? Once it says that does not leave a record, that was there of direct light, did not have direct light. So what does it mean that she did not leave a record from direct light? It means that from the reflected light in her she does leave a record, meaning so what was it before the screen, and courses on phase 4 remained. Then we say that the last phase is lost. Why? You hear, he means the way it extends the light, so what remains means the light. Which light? So we have to say that she received something of the light of Mal. So the light, what I'm saying, her light, there is none. but there was light. Her light means screen and coarseness reflected light that she received. From what she received that remained, what was extended didn't remain. So what I said, that Mal does not leave a record, what I meant was that in each one light remains in her own vessels from the vessel of Mal when it receives in order to receive. No record was left because she didn't receive light. She never had it. But there was some kind of illumination in which we call the light of Nephesh. That's why we should discern in the Mal 1 that the last phase was lost, specifically of the extension that was her light. From her light nothing remains. From the screen and coarseness, the last phase was lost. Next, the record of her own light doesn't remain because it was never on her vessel called receiving in order to receive. But an illumination remained of what she had earlier, so that illumination she had as God. The 9th record of the light of Mal, which is only refined light that remained of her light. So I'm only speaking about the light that remained from that refined light. So again, every vessel has its own light, except for Mal, did not have her own light. Why? Why is her vessel court receiving in order to receive? There is no light, only the light that we relate to that. Her light, the straight and coarseness. The reflected light which she gives that specifically is called her light and not the first 9. We find that in each and every the first 9, a record remains from direct light of every vessel. So I say that never had light to her vessel called receiving in order to receive. That's why the record was not left. So we say that Mal does not leave a record meaning from direct light that was ever in her. Now that light that she had, not her own light. She did receive some kind of light from that light she had. Now when the light departed, a record was remained, and that's called the refined light in Malat. Now from her light what is the light of Malat's screen and coarseness? Reflected light. From that her record wasn't remained. That's called the last phase was lost. Meaning, before she had a screen and coarseness. On phase 4 it was lost. Now there's the last phase on 3. So, we're asking, what does it mean the last phase was lost? So I told you joining 2 things. Here, there's a result, and there is an action. There's an action. That action. When we say that the light was diminished, that depends on. We say that in Mal the last phase is lost that she could not use. And only, according to that we see the light of the vessel of. We see that the vessel of Keter is already lacking something. The first, there's already a deficiency. But who causes that? The last days was lost. It's a result what we're saying. We find that in every vessel, in every sphere, there isn't light that it had before. Who caused that? But the last phase was lost. What she extended, it's only the result. So he calls that action. Whoever does it, the last phase is lost. From this we find that no one of all, that each and every didn't have the light it had before. If so, the last phase was lost. That's an action. What is the last phase? The last phase is called a scream. It limits up to here I can receive. The last phase of Gala is called phase 4. That she says up to here I'm willing to receive. But the last phase that was in Dal. What was that last phase? And 3. From this we get that the light of clothed on the vessels of Galar. We find that there's a record of what? Of the first 9. And now which light comes? We find that in every phase there's a deficiency. And that's a result of what? Of the record. The last phase is lost. That's why it wasn't extended. Only the light of. There's no deficiency in it. There we learn how was the vessel made. When phase 4 became vacant. Phase 3. Refined and became empty. Phase 2. Refined and became empty. Phase 1 refined and became empty. So, there he means on the making of the vessels. So then he comes and says, how are the vessels filled there? Since each and every vessel as long as it has light, it's still not consistent. But before it was like that what? Everything was from phase 4 of 4, phase 3 of 4. Everything was part of 4 and now everything's phase 3. But in this there are more discernment. He doesn't get into the details, but there are differences. There everything is phase 4 and here everything is phase 3. 104. Why does the upper light make a coupling with the screen during its refinement? What's the answer? although the departure was instantaneous and at once, since the upper light does not stop shining for even 1 moment, 1 minute, and the screen necessarily passed the 4 levels of coarseness during its refinement. Hence the upper light makes a coupling with it as it comes to each and every face. What is the question? If we say that the surrounding light were there, was the clash between internal light and surrounding light cancelled the screen, then the light departs. But it departs. What is he saying? Even during the departure, the light also illuminates in the 4 phases called nekot dots. After all, now during the departure, why do they come? Does the light come to illuminate again? Answer: they calls this departure at once, in 1 moment. That's the language of there. So he gives us something simplification, where he begins on the way of the screen, where it already departs. It must depart, and that is called at once. So why are there many couplings? Since the screen is made of 4 phases, therefore, and since there's no change in the light, only when there's a screen, then we see there's light, and the light performs a coupling of striking on the light. Therefore, this is discerned as on one hand the departure was at once, where the surrounding light cancelled the screen. The screen must be cancelled. On the other hand, the light coupling couples with light because there's no change in the light. So, he gives an example similar to a person who's sitting in the 4th room and wants to exit. So he doesn't when he has to come into from room 4 to room 3, he doesn't need to say keep exiting only what at once that he had in the room number 4, and he has to go outside. He went outside only. You can't leave from the 4th outside until he goes through the rooms 3, 2 and 1. Therefore, or on behalf of the departure, at once where the screen is refined by the surrounding light. On the other hand, there are many couplings because that it always illuminated. That's why there's always a screen, and he sees it and couples with it. Now in the manner in which the screen is lost completely, then the light longer sees the light. Therefore there's no coupling with the light there. What are 105? What are the 7 discernments in the screen? The screen is 1 face, 1 discernment. The screen we distinguish within the screen 7 discernments. Let's see what he says. 105:1. The first is that the detainment and the boundary, which is still not to receive, and the coarseness, which is to receive, come as one in the screen. Nothing of the screen is distinguishable, while it is not incorporated with coarseness, as then it does not exist at all. If he has the desire to receive, which has coarseness, we should say scream, meaning it surrounds itself to not receive anymore, as I have no desire. What is it to say that I'm surrounding myself? Even he wouldn't even surround himself because he doesn't want to receive it. Therefore, the first discernment is that the detainment and the boundary and the coarseness come as one in the screen. The second is the potential detainment in the screen for malat of their screen, which is in malhud of, is only a screen in potential. It connects in potential limits. In potential, there's not much to talk about there. The third is the actual in the screen in mal of the goof called tabal, until the tabal light illuminates, as long as he receives, and below it he does not want to receive it. The fourth is the incorporation of the screen in coarseness from the first 3 phases during its ascent. Since there's tam tastes that are called coarseness of phase 4 and bats on the first 3 phases during their refinement as they arise upwards. The fifth is that the 2 actions, meaning rejecting the light from phase 4 and the clothing of the light in the 9th, are both connected to the stream. Just as it rejects the light from the last phase, so it connects and clothes the lights from her and above. What's the difference between phase 1 and the first quality was the detainment, and the boundary and the coarseness comes 1 and the screen, meaning you can't have a screen if you don't have the desire to receive. The fifth is he explains that the 2 actions in the rejecting of light from phase 4 and clothing the light in the 9th, the first n, are both connected to the stream, whereas when he rejects and does not receive anything, it has to do with the restriction and not the screen. Therefore, he says just as the screen rejects the light from the last phase, so it connects and clothes the lights from her and above. The sixth is coarseness from below, upward, renewed in the screen. Because of its ascent and coming in of the, we learned that the screen was refined. Therefore, it ascended upwards. The screen in until it rises upwards. Who of is incorporated there receives a screen from below upwards, which is called the coupling mal. It turns out that of, which was upon phase 4, was incorporated now in the courses from below upwards of phase 3. It works out that the surrounding light that cancelled the screen with the force that it wanted to illuminate asked what did we benefit. After all the inner light, it had also departed. So he explains that. Before he explains now the screen of Tabal, which is called the concluding, where he says that it does not want to receive by the coupling of the surrounding light, which refined it and rose to the wash in return, was included in the screen of the wash. So the screen of Tarbar is now called the coupling mal. He extends the light in return and receives the light in return and says, that I do want to receive so much so that from which became now of phase 3 is divided from taboo upwards and from taboo downwards, which means the taboo now became as if the seventh is coarseness from above downward, renewed in the screen by the records, incorporated in it as it passed in the spot of the goof during its refinement. With that, as if we say that the screen with the records ascended upwards in the row of mal of tabal, it's considered the concluding malat, which now becomes the coupling malhood. And with that, when the coupling is performed on phase 3 of coarseness, just like in of, then immediately the records are called that are included in the screen of tabal, which are the record of the gof and not of the. Hence they must ascend downwards, but because they are lacking phase 4, it only has phase 3. The records of the goof are renewed in the screen and they sent to the, and then what was incorporated in the coupling mal awakens from below upwards that which was in the. Then a coupling took place from upwards of tul, and the external low of from downwards becomes the goof of AB, the external goof of AB. It turns out the awakening of the records was what was before clothing the inner, and now it's called the external AB. Hence, we distinguish 7 discernments. Let's go to the next part of our lesson. Dear friends, we are going to go to our social part that will be hosted by PT2 as a preparation for the convention. Hello dear friends. We received this privilege to continue our preparation for the convention. We would really like during this time that we have for us to remember that what prepares us to the convention is the upper light. What prepares us to the convention is the Kabbalists, and what we actually need is a deficiency to connect in the 10. So we will read now an excerpt from Rabash. We would really want for every friend to feel that Rabash is writing this for him, for her. It's truly listen to this. It's like Rav is Rush is writing these words. For us personally, take it personally, and from there we will go on our way. Rush from letter 24. You must always stand guard all day and all night. When you feel a state of day or feel a state of night, we say to the Creator, yours is the day, and yours is also the night. Thus the night too, the darkness of night comes from the Creator to man's favour too. As it is written, day to day, utter speech, and night to night, expresses knowledge. It follows that you must awaken the heart of the friends until the flame rises by itself. As our sages said about it, when you mount the candles, by that you will be rewarded with awakening the love of the Greater upon us. Okay, dear friends, we are starting our first lesson, which is connection, and the 10 is a condition for adhesion in the Creator. That is the first lesson in the Congress. Now we want to bring everybody into that atmosphere the first day of the Congress. Let's try and dive into imagine it. The first morning of the convention, Thursday, hundreds of friends are showing up from the world Clee. It could be that there are some that will come here early for duties. It could be that woke up in the morning and heard the broadcast. It could be that friends are coming here for breakfast, a bit of mingling with the friends, a bit of coffee, shraya, and feel that atmosphere. There's happiness in there. There's excitement in the air. And then we have to go downstairs for the first lesson for the preparation. Maybe I came on time and my whole tent came on time and we're sitting ready and prepared for the first lesson. And maybe I was late. Maybe I didn't pay attention to the time. and I came in while everybody was already talking. But we want to start that preparation in the most serious manner and the strongest possible way. That's what we're going to talk about. Now, we're going to talk about her preparation for the first lesson and try and understand how that happens. What is in it? Friends, let's now depict in our tense this ideal picture. How would we want to come to the first lesson in the 10? The moment we start depicting this ideal picture, maybe we'll have challenges that will arise, things the Creator can awaken against us. Let's also talk what can come up, what challenges can stand before us, and how we will help one another overcome them. So again, the question for a workshop is, how would we want as a 10 to come to the first lesson in the convention? What challenges or obstacles stand before us, and how will we overcome them? We got 6 minutes. We're working on it. We're working on the material. We want to feel it. We want to come prepared. We want to implement everything. We're going to learn together and go through there. As a 10, we want to incorporate with the friends from the whole world Clee, all their yearnings, with all the forces they're bringing with them. And our challenges are truly to come to the lessons, to share everything we're doing together, and that everybody will be there, full of forces towards the Congress to come. There's one man. First of all, we're coming with joy, with a warmth in our hearts, happiness from meeting our friends, happiness from meeting the friends who came down from the streets and came here to be physically with us, is joy that we're coming to meet the Creator, and the Creator is wrapping us and raising us to the degree of connection and love. I don't want there to be anything of what was up to now, only new thing that will be with the Creator. How would we want to come as a 10 to the first lesson in the convention? Well, as connected as possible. Obviously, we mostly want to work on the matter of the preparation, so that in the convention we will already be in a state that we need to be in. We want and hope that we will be able to do the preparation in the best possible way, meaning that we will really be ready. I want us to be excited like in our first Congress. That is the fuel for our connection. We have to arrive together, or we feel, first of all, that we did the preparation, that who's coming when they're coming, where we're sitting, what we're doing, that we have a preparation that we built, that we feel that there's a great opportunity here for us as a 10 for connection and all together as a world Clee for a common leap. And the challenges are to work on this, meaning we have to scrutinise what we want to do in the preparations for the lessons, where every friend will be, what we will do, and mostly how we will feel close. That is, especially where it's clear to us that there are all kinds of challenges that's separate between us, and we understand that these challenges are aimed and guided, and that we're working on them together. Yeah, we also want to be an example for all the friends. We want to give an example that we're united, that we want to give everyone forces, and to take this opportunity as a 10 to connect even more, to feel the friends' hearts, give us more forces, and then to come out even more connected, even more united, feeling this need to connect in order to discover the Creator, and also with all these exalted expectations of connection and love. I wouldn't want for the intention and goal to be like Curie said, that maybe I'm coming to drink a cup of coffee and to talk to friends. Maybe I'm late and everyone's sitting, and I came. We should have a yearning, a desire, that we can't fall asleep at night for this meeting. It's like a child that's waiting for his birthday or for a trip overseas or some journey, and you have, like this, butterflies in your stomach, and that you're running here, and we're happy from that. That should specifically be our first day. The general success of the Congress depends on each one's participation as much as it'll be serious. That's why we need in our preparation to pass that to everyone who's coming. Whoever's coming is supposedly committing to not just sit, but to participate actively, seriously, and that each one will feel that the general success depends on them. That's it. That's very important, to such an extent that whoever is in Syria doesn't have a place there. It's not a convention that we just want everybody to come just like that. We want people to come that really want that goal. Whether they can or not, that's all right. But they want it. Excerpt number 7. One cannot correct one's thought but should only aim the heart, make one's heart straight to the Creator, then all of his thoughts and actions will naturally be to bestow contentment upon his Maker. When he corrects his heart to be a heart and desire of, the heart will then be the key in which to place the upper light, and when the upper light shines in the heart will grow stronger and will add and supplement continuously again. Excerpt number 7 from One could not correct one's thought, but should only aim the heart, make one's heart straight to the Creator, then all of his thoughts and actions will naturally be to bestow contentment upon his Maker. When he corrects his heart to be a heart and desire of, the heart will then be in which to place the upper light, and when the upper light shines in the heart will grow stronger and he will add and supplement continuously. Yes, friends, so we all know that this Congress is very special. There are a lot of innovations that weren't in previous Congresses. One of them is that the whole 10 has to be concerned that prepare their own preparations for the lesson. It's a task that each one has to do even before the Congress. Now we have to know the content of every lesson and to prepare a plan to prepare an order of actions before every lesson that will help us enter with one heart into the lesson. So we're going to start that now. We know there's 10s that are already doing it. There are 10s that are starting now. So now together the whole world clear. We're going to start it. Let's take 10 minutes and start between us in the 10 to brainstorm. Let's share ideas. What do we want to do as a preparation for the lesson? It could be exercises, maybe workshop questions, maybe time to just be silent, maybe certain excerpts that we'll prepare in advance. Everything goes. One thing that's very important is that we remember that we're sitting in a hall with more 10s around us, so we're going to make sure not to disturb other 10s, so not to start jumping or singing or speaking loud. We're just going to keep watch over each other and prepare together in the 10s. So we're going to start now. We're speaking about actions of preparation that we as a 10 are building for the first lesson in the end of the workshop. We want to hear your ideas in the assembly, so 10 minutes please. How will we do the preparation for the lesson? That's actually a question. We are doing the preparation every day, twice a day, 3 times a day. It's very standard for us in our 10. We have 2 Zooms, 3 Zooms, and we also have preparation for the morning lesson. We are constantly accustomed to preparing ourselves for connection between us. It's something that we are living. How will we exactly do it in the convention? I assume in the same method. Like we do in all our preparations, there will probably be excerpts, and maybe there will be a certain conversation or questions or answers, or a search of sorts after materials. There will be a certain softening device where each will add our sesame, and together we will create this thing called connection, a common desire that the Creator will dwell in. It's kind of a personal kind of condition or state of the tent. I don't know how to add more to that. Yeah, and we awaken the friends in our happiness to be there together. Yes, that's the desirable state. How will we do it? So, there's an article, there's excerpts. We can read the article in a certain round of sorts. First of all, we have to decide what we want for it to be, some kind of internal gathering of friends that we share more with joy, like the friend said, or that we're holding ourselves tight to the source. Maybe reading the article in a round that also awakens, or that we do both, where we can start with the reading of source in a round, or excerpts in a round, and then do certain, like our workshop question that warms us up, that will enable each person to open the heart, share excitement and impressions from what we feel, and adhere one another. And in the last part, leave time for collect this whole thing into the entrance to the lesson in a certain prayer that we want to enter with, and maybe even scrutinize it. Sometimes in prayers we each simply says his prayer. Maybe here we also have room to go even deeper, to decide what yes, what not, what's relevant, what's not, or less, and for there to be a little bit of a friction inside this thing, and scrutiny as a result of it. I just had an idea, maybe because it's the first lesson of the Congress. So we're going to come with all that charge that we feel towards the convention, so we can speak about our expectations, what we want to go through, what we feel, from those spirits that we just enter, this atmosphere that this Congress has now to get excited, from what we're about to do together, and to put ourselves in that atmosphere to get excited that so many friends are coming. Friends already came, and what we feel towards that to awaken that excitement towards the Congress. There are many possibilities that we can take and implement. There's no doubt that the first lesson is the opening lesson, and maybe based on the preparation to the morning the first lesson, all the rest of the preparations will be measured, and the rest of the events. That's why we have to really come prepared, and we need to do in scrutiny within the 10 in which we think and decide together what we as a 10, what's the awakening that will what's the preparation that will awaken us most. Will we read a source, excerpts from the convention, questions for workshops, pray? Will we share our first impression from the arrival of our great friends from the world cleans? Maybe some form of session that we have to do in the 10 together, and to really think what's the thing that will awaken us as a 10, because the awakening of our 10 is an awakening that will impact the rest of the 10s and the world altogether. Because all in all we have to aim ourselves to the goal as precise as we can. Awaken the hearts, soften the hearts, and implement all those goals. That's why it start from the evening before that we meet. Before we go to sleep, read something. Tune ourselves to do some kind of exercise, maybe in the next day also. Start from that, from a workshop that will soften the hearts, that will at least reach a small feeling of connection and love between us. It seems to me like the convention has begun. We're already a week after. The convention came because the friends already came. We're already sitting not in the same way, in the same style that we used to, and altogether everything that's happening in the centre and on the screens is a different state where people are starting to organise in places, and in short a completely different status of us all. What is something we have to see if, they say that the coldness of the love, that we don't lose this warmth, that it doesn't chill from the extent and the powers that were in this for already a week. And actually to renew, and how do we say I don't, to wrap ourselves as a 10 to be one unit, as one unit in this whole great system, so we don't lose ourselves, to be some kind of common desire that works towards the goal and towards everyone as well. Our friend has an idea that we'll write a song, that will be our song. That's a great preparation, because in a song there's a topic, there's emotion, there's a connection. So that's great. So how do we collect all these ideas that came up here to something? I think it could be a certain expression of the interaction that we need to do as well. There are many ideas, many directions, and they are all towards the same goal. It's clear. Everyone wants to attain the same inner excitement, impression, intention with which we enter the lesson. And now we have a practical action. How we collect this whole thing, ask for the Creator to help us reach a decision, a practical decision, seemingly the most external of things, but it actually obligates us with a certain nearing, a certain concession to hear what the other wants, to agree with what the other wants. It's work that you can feel in the flesh. So dear friends, we see the people in the hall really sitting, and how can we really reach the preparation of the preparation now? And it's important that we hear each other. Let's have an assembly, and here, also here in the study hall, also in the system. Put the question marks up. Share with us so we can hear and incorporate. Yes, and I see you there, with your hand up. Yes too, is Thank God Radio already. It's what we are learning for years. We don't have to go crazy. Go on the same way. The known texts, our sources are known. We can combine all kinds of special exercises that we heard from Raf. For example, everyone's reading with their finger on the page. Everyone has a text before their eyes to make sure that we're printing it out. There's an exercise that we heard not long ago from Rabash about the souls and aspirations. There's an exercise where Raf told us about this silent workshop that we can do every day. So we can combine that There are many exercises that we collected with throughout the years. Thank you. We feel how the preparation we're doing here every morning touches everyone's hearts. So thank you, PT2. We decided that we want to really chew these excerpts we got for the first lesson. We already started working on our Zooms, and we just decided to chew on them. Every friend reads an excerpt, says what he got from it, and to just keep on going until we really feel we decided that until the end of this week we are going to finish the preparation of the first lesson and go do it in the connection between us. And there is also an exercise that we decided in the tent at maybe every friend will imagine that the one on his right is the creator, what he wants to give to him, what he wants to receive from him. So that was also an idea, but especially to strengthen ourselves and the forces and to really bring them in the heart. The first day, a week before the convention, we have to gather a week before that and attend in a friend's house and to do the preparation for the lesson. And the other idea, to do a preparation for the preparation, meaning to gather 15 more minutes before the official preparation for this and to do an additional preparation in the convention itself. We have, yes, thank you, Franz. So, we got to a conclusion that the first lesson is what prepares the whole convention. That's why we want to make a really strong connection that will give us a push. We want to have workshops, so we'll be able to imagine that state where the whole 10 already has a whole vessel to connect to the creator, and that all the friends love each other, and we want to discover the creator behind every friend, and that will advance us towards extra adhesion to the creator and the entire Congress. Thank you very much, beloved. We have Moscow. Thank you very much. On the first day, there's a lot of impressions already, and we have half an hour, and we're in different places. We will be in different places in order to kind of ignite it. We can, by starting with a question in order to collect everyone together. Ask what impressions do I already have that I would like to invert or change into common impressions with the 10 right now. Microphone. We want to talk about how to keep that inner inspiration of the friends to try and find the balance between happiness incorporating from the Congress to being serious in the preparation and also common actions in the 10. We see a lot of 10s doing all kinds of actions, gives us a lot of inspiration, a lot of an example, and we also want to do it. We feel that that's our force that we're giving each other. The tenant. Society. Good morning, dear friends. We will add that we want to do a certain warm gathering of friends and to kind of include every element into it. So we have to prepare the proper technology, so no matter who's sitting in VAR or who's in the system, we'll be able to hear and talk and feel one another. A great impression from the greatness of the friends. And another important addition is to check our intention, what we want to attain in this preparation, and conclude it in some small prayer that prepares us. So we will also be able to check it after the lesson and see the differences before and after the lesson. Yeah, we were talking about most important is to incorporate in the 10 that each one will include the friends in his heart and nobody will remain with no connection. And we also scrutinize that we want to know how every friend does it, how not to disturb each other, but to help each other, and from that build our lineup. New York, Sal, Women, New York 3. Yeah. Hello, thank you friends. Are to add a few ideas similar to what was already shared at the beginning of each lesson prep round of expressing our intention for the upcoming lesson. Also silent prayer at the end of the cret, and then be party to bringing the whole world clear back into that common internal space with a niggin in silence before we enter the lesson. Thank you friends. So thank you everybody also here in the hall, also in the system we are starting the preparation. Thank you everyone. There are many friends but still wanted to add, but we will go to clip number 2. It's already known to us that the work in the pen is spiritual work. It's the central greatest and most important one. I would say the only one, because in this way we directly build, restore, install the vessel, which is called the soul of Adam, and there's no more places where we can build a spiritual vessel to build a place for the revelation of the Creator. This is called the Holy Temple, where it's the holiness, the Creator, the upper light will dwell according to equivalence of form in the connection between us. Hence, as far as the correction of vessel, this is the work, and this is why it is written, love your friend as yourself, is the great rule in the Torah. Why? Because that's the building of the vessel, and therefore the subject, the topic is the main one. Number 8. Whoever wants to come closer to the Creator and bestow to the Creator needs to pray to the Creator to give him a different heart. As it said, the Creator gave me pure heart, meaning when there'll be another heart, that the desire in the heart will be a desire to bestow. Everything he'll learn will show him ways to bestow to the Creator, but against the heart, he will never see it. It was said about that, and I took the stony heart from within you and will give you a heart of flesh. Also, one cannot see one's own faults, because he learns where his heart desires. And since the heart wants to enjoy and a person does not enjoy faults, the person does not enjoy and will therefore never see his own faults. The only advice is to pray to the Creator to give him a different heart, meaning to understand that there is nothing better to give contentment to the Creator. We want to conclude with the hottest group in the world, and hear a report from them and a warm invitation to the convention. Argentina. Hello friends. We are the friends from Argentina and Chile, also Miami and Canada. There's great happiness to be here with you preparing for the Congress, and the happiness is even greater because we know that all the friends are preparing and directing us towards the Creator. 10 took a decision to come prepared and connected as one man with one heart. We also see this importance that we're doing everything we can to come with all the importance that you are also showing us from Israel. And this Congress forces us to come prepared so we can receive the Creator. So I also want to say that the friends that can come, they have an opportunity. So going to Israel means connecting to life and going up to a new degree. So we have our friend that will be going. Thank you, SA. Thank you, dear friends. We are really feeling that the Creator is sending us blessings. Many blessings to all, and the Latin is really, we're feeling it. It's truly tangible, and the Creator through a great friend involved with me, and it's amazing what's happening in all of Latin America. And this week I was in a gathering of friends with Latin 2 from Mexico, and each and every one of them, as 10, want to come physically to Israel. I talked to another friend from Latin 11, and 10 from Latin 11. The whole 10 wants to come fully to Israel, and the friends here from Latin 7. We feel all this burning fire and the excitement. Friends, today we had our gathering of friends of the 10, and we feel we're in the point where we can break through, as that really the Creator will give us this possibility to bestow to the world and to attain something very special in this convention. So friends, let's come to the Creator with the true request and attain what He expects of us in this convention. The 10 men 10s that want to give, that want to prepare the last part of the morning lesson to awaken the friends towards the congruent year. Please turn to the content team at boardwalkplaidmail.com. We'll end with a, my dear friend, please take my hand and lead the way, and we'll rise and step together every day. With your help, I'll finally break this heavy heart of stone. I can do this on my own. Without you, I feel alone. Shalom. Friends, today we're going to continue to read from what is Torah and work on their Creator, and we're going to start from, and we must believe in the words of the Sorad. It's about a fourth of the article in, and I'll read it until the words, we know, they know its value, and they steal it, and find it, and don't return it to their owner. Afterwards, we'll have a lesson from April 1st, 2003, and tomorrow we'll go to the last part of the article. We'll read the article now in the 10 that finish reading before at the end of the time, are invited to discuss the main points from the article, and we must believe the words of the Holy Zohar, that the whole Torah is the names of the Creator, meaning that the Creator is clothed in the clothing of Torah. Hence, we should discern 2 things in the Torah. 1, the clothing. 2, the one who wears it. It is as it is written in the book, a sage's fruit. Quote, however, the Creator is the light of, however, the Creator is the light of, and of clothed in the lights of Torah that is found in the 620 commandments. This is the meaning of their words. The whole Torah is the names of the Creator. It means that the Creator is the whole, and the 620 names are parts and names. End quote. Follows that one who has faith in the Creator can believe that the giver of the Torah is clothed in the Torah. Conversely, a Gentile who has no faith in the Creator, how can he learn Torah? Since he does not believe in the giver of the Torah, he can learn only from the clothing of the Jew, but not from the one who wears it, since he has no faith. The utter clothing is called wisdom, and not Jew, since Darwar is specifically when he's connected to the giver of the Torah. By this we understand what our sages said. Should one tell you there is wisdom in the Gentiles' belief, it is because they can learn the clothing without the one who wears it, which is only called wisdom, without any connection to the giver of the Torah. But should one tell you there is Torah, and the Gentiles do not believe, since they have no connection to the giver of the Torah, and since the essence of our work is to achieve the teaching with the Creator as it is written to cling on to Him, it follows that the Torah is the means by which to adhere to Him. That is, while learning Torah, we should aim to be rewarded with connecting to the one who wears it. This is done through the clothing which is the Torah, in which the Creator is clothed. In the above-mentioned verse, there is wisdom in the Gentiles believe, there is Torah in the Gentiles do not believe. When we interpret this in the work, we should know that Gentiles and Israelis are in the same body. That is, before a person is rewarded with faith, he's still regarded as a Gentile, and only after he is rewarded with faith is called Israel. However, if a person wants to achieve complete faith, although he has still not been rewarded with complete faith, he is already regarded as Israel. It is as Balaam said about, quote, "Let wisdom be given to the wise," end quote. He asked, should it not have said, "Let wisdom be given to the fools"? He said that a person who seeks wisdom is already called wise, because any person is judged by his goal, meaning by what he expects to achieve.